Welcome to In Body, In Mind. Join us as we explore the world of alternative and complementary health, wellness and life experiences. This interview is with Ty Criddle, a shamanic healer from the southwest of Western Australia. Ty has profound understanding of the healing powers of nature, plant medicine and the human spirit. His life journey has been a remarkable one, filled with both struggles and triumphs. In this dialogue, Ty shares his experiences and insights on his healing practices and how they have not only transformed him, but many others. Enjoy. Hey everyone, you're here with Davey Harpal, and with me today I have Ty Criddle. Now, Ty is a shamanic healer, and we came across Ty when we did the Yelling Up Wellness Expo in November of last year, and we did a collaboration of sound. And since then, I've seen Ty on a few occasions and got to know him a bit more, which has been fantastic. And I thought it was worthwhile to sit here and have a discussion with Ty and get you to know Ty like I know Ty. So how about starting with your story, Ty?
Yeah.
So where does Ty come from?
Like
Who is Ty?
Oh, it's always a never-ending curious journey, that one, isn't it? It's like, when you say shamanic healer, that's what people tend to call me, because I can never really kind of figure it out myself, like what I do. So it's kind of, it's like one of them journeys. Next thing you know, it kind of chooses you. You don't choose it. Next thing you know, you're doing healing work. Yeah, that's what kind of happened for me. That was a journey of really owning my empathy, my sensitivity, like realizing that it was a gift and something I didn't need to numb out anymore. And that was a kind of a lifetime journey, really.
Yeah, and did you expect to go through this type of journey?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Would you have ever visualised yourself doing what you're doing now?
No.
No. That's the most amazing thing about it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
How did people react when you did that 360 turn? All your friends and family and how was that?
Well, I remember like back in like when I was back, I had a crazy brother-in-law, and he kind of introduced me back in 2008 to healing. Like he was into Qigong and all that kind of things. Yeah. And he was like, and at that time I was doing real estate, and at that particular time, and we'd been through a lot together. We crowd control together. I've been a driller and a crayfisherman and a slaughterman and all those different things, and tried a lot of different things, especially in my youth, 18 to 30. It was that hardcore lifestyle of drinking and partying. And
absolutely, fishing town.
Yeah. Especially I was up in Geraldton and down here fishing, and I went all over the state doing different work. That's what we did back then, because there was no jobs back then. Like this was back in that recession that we had to have, like Paul Keating back then.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. I remember coming. I wanted to be a forestry.
Yeah.
Wanted to be in forestry.
Wasn't one of his sayings, "We won't leave a child behind" or something?
Something like that. The recession that we had to have.
Good old politicians.
And I was wanting. I was actually trying to apply with CALM, Conservation Land Management at the time, and Fisheries Department, because I was a mad keen fisherman since I was like. Well, Dad used to tie us to the Esperance jetty. Like we used to go down there before I could even walk to fish. Like
wow.
Yeah. So I was a mad keen fisherman, and ended up becoming a professional fisherman. Yeah, and that was a bit of a journey as well. Went for a guy down here. I think a lot of people would know him, called Dick Gray. When I was like 18, ended up working for him down here, and I was a scrawny.
What, in Dunsborough?
Yeah, down in Bustleton here. I was like, we worked all the way down to Hamlin Bay, then all the way up to Mandurah, and it was, I was my whole life, like coming from 12 to 18, I was very underdeveloped. Like all my friends were like men. I remember playing footy and I was playing against men. So I was really scrawny, and I remember just about killed me, and I did about 3 or 4 months with him, and he said, come back when you grow out of it. I was solo decking at the time too. One of the other guys had a car accident, and we ended up this scrawny kid doing like lifting 80-kilo pots and working, getting up at 3 in the morning and getting home at 7 at night. It was
hard work.
Yeah, it was really hard work. Yeah, and you worked every day back then too.
Yeah.
Like Christmas Day off, and that's all you had.
Wow.
Yeah, it was different. The seasons went for 8 months, but you'd work every day. There's no weekends off. If you're lucky, you get Christmas Day off.
So what catapulted you? What sort of experience did you have that made you sort of see life as a different version of what you thought it was?
I met a guy, like, as you say, there's always a series of stories and a series of journeys. But
it is a journey.
It's always, you look back at it all, how perfect it was, like, all the times you always felt very different, and you try to have to, like, from drinking and all those kind of things, working hard were all ways to fit in for me. Because, you want to be this man, but underneath you're quite sensitive, but you actually harden the fuck up, so to speak. And so I remember I had to go when I had a family, like in 2000, I kind of grew up a bit, so to speak, had my Saturn return in Australia, they call it, and I actually realised I had a brain and started studying, got my skipper's ticket, and then I got my real estate licence. I decided that working hard like that, I was turning 30, my body couldn't sustain it, and my wife at the time said, try real estate. And then, and that was the first thing when I realised I had a brain, that I was...
But you're okay.
That I was okay. And I numbed it out my whole life as having a brain, and then it kind of... we kind of had a lot of success, and that kind of... I saw the ugly monster of that, where you work so hard, you get all this abundance, and then you kind of, the greedy monster kind of kicks in.
They want more.
Yeah.
And that's the way life is with most people today. They don't realise they're actually getting, it's like a dog chasing its tail. There's no end. They that human experience I've found is most people just want more.
Yeah.
And they don't realise they're putting themselves, it's almost like slavery. It's like, I can't even think of what word to use here, because it's a continual, it's not enough. And it doesn't matter what goals you reach, you get there and you think, oh, no, it's got to be more than that. And you try and find something else, don't you? Or another toy.
That's right. And the pressures, like the way everything's kind of rigged against us, so to speak, the pressures of, having to put food on the table, and
absolutely,
we had four kids, three kids under 4 at one stage.
Wow.
And you're this constant, like, you gotta work, and then you kind of forget to start putting yourself first. All those things that got you there, you kind of forget. Because I did Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, and all that kind of stuff, and that kind of kept me fit. But then it kind of, and I was coaching boxing at the time too, at the PCYC, when I was doing real estate. So I was helping a lot of kids, especially up there. A lot of the Indigenous kids up there in Geraldton as well were doing that. So I had it on the PCYC. But then something kind of changed, and when I had a lot of success, that all fell away, all those things. And then greedy monster kicked in, and then I had to pretty much, then I started drinking again, because I gave up drinking.
Right.
Period. And that's when life was going really well. And then I kind of started drinking again, and that's when things kind of went a bit pear-shaped.
Yeah.
Start partying, all that kind of stuff again, and then...
So in that time, that when you were doing that, it would have been something that was unresolved within you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was numbing out. I couldn't, and this abundance, not being able to handle, like, that self-love piece, not being able to handle...
Who you were, well, you didn't know who you were,
Didn't know who I was back then. And then it took all that to actually... then all of a sudden you become, like, I was really overweight. I blew out to 140 kilos. Yeah.
140?
140 kilos.
That's massive.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an echo of where I was.
Yeah, really. Well,
I was smoking, really.
Yeah, lots of people were doing that.
Yeah, I was like
yeah, it's self-sabotage, really, isn't it?
Because you kind of, in this, like, it's keeping you going. I was on the caffeine, I was on junk food, just to keep myself going, because I'd lost all my practices and all that kind of stuff.
So you weren't boxing anymore?
Nah,
You just dropped everything and just went down the path of, I'll destroy myself.
Yeah, without realising you're thinking I was trying to...
No, you weren't thinking that,
yeah.
But you were obviously restraining something deep-rooted that you had not really faced.
No, that's right.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? We need to face our deepest fear.
Yeah.
So...
And I just don't even know what that is. It's more unconscious of it.
Okay. But you must have somehow gone through something to do what you're doing now.
Yeah, so...
Because there's a massive change there.
Yeah, it was like, I met you get to the place where like, I think you got to get to a place where you've self-destructed that much that that's enough.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Some people, for some.
Yeah, for some. For some, for me, I find with recovering addicts, a lot of the time, it's, you got to have the big one before you actually make some changes.
Yeah.
And I kind of got to that stage where it was just like, this is... I remember my wife at the time was going, you need to start losing weight, you need to start doing some stuff with it. Then I kind of came across this teacher. He was an acupuncturist and he was into Qigong and Tao.
Yeah.
And I felt this energy that I never felt. And my brother-in-law at the time, he'd come and started doing energy healing on me and stuff. And then I met another friend. She was a what's it called when you do reflexologist. And she started doing work on me regularly. And then the energy, then I started to feel energy, and then I started to want to stop drinking.
Right, yeah. You were getting something from that.
Yeah, I was getting something, this energy kind of woke up in me. And it was just this period of a couple of years, and next thing you know, like I really started to follow the Tao rituals, which really resonated.
Yeah, the Tao's amazing.
Yeah, it was really, so I was meeting up with this particular family quite regularly, and then my kids started to come along, and it was really just an energy I've never felt before. And I remember once when we did this ritual, like I had this full, like when I first started to do the ritual, this movement, which helps move the energy through, like all of a sudden it's just this full sweat. I had this like full awakening, if that makes sense. Like my whole body just released, and then this pressure that I never felt before, just in my third eye, it started here, and then it was like electric shots just going boom, straight through my body. And then all of a sudden I just stopped drinking.
That's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, I bet everyone could deal with something like that that are having those problems. So you deal with a lot of people that have actually addiction problems, issues? Seem
to. It's like one of my team, like, on this journey, it's been, 15, 16 years now.
Yeah.
And so it's been 14 years since I've had a drink. And as one teacher said to me, the healing that you do on yourself, you will attract.
That's true. They reckon, well, I've been told that the people you draw into your life are usually the people that know you've dealt with the issues that they're having.
100%.
And I've seen that now, because I've seen people when they've start to tell their story, and I'm thinking, I know this story.
Yeah.
Actually, I understand it because I've been through this.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's really important, because you can see people out there, and you see so many people out there. There's so many people that have got some sort of remedy or some sort of help for you, right? But they have not. They're coming from a textbook. A lot of people are coming from textbooks, and I really truly believe, from what I've experienced myself, is that the only way you can really help someone is if you can understand or have dealt or have gone through with their issue. Because then you've got a conversation happening as a one-on-one with that experience.
Yeah.
And they know, because they feel good, because they think, oh my God, I'm not the only one. That this person's gone through it, and they've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, so there's got to be there for me.
Yeah. Yeah, they feel safe.
Yeah.
They feel compassion. Not someone like lecturing or, do as I say, not as I do. The old way of, feeling like you've done something wrong. But it's kind of like this like yourself, be able to go, look, I've been through it, I've got you, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, your case is obviously got your own unique work to do, your own unique story, but by the same token, I understand.
Yeah.
And I know it's painful.
Absolutely.
But this is this.
But we can do this, and it still will depend on the person themselves. This is the work they put into it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you can give them the tools, you can help them set them on that journey, but still, it's still up to them whether they're going to actually let go and actually experience it for a starter, or whether they're just going to hold on and because they're scared to let go. You know, there's still that we're sort of so this humanity, today's world, so fear driven anyway, that, you know, and we're also afraid to let anyone see who we truly are.
All that,
isn't it? There's a lot there.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. It's like, you know, it's like this new energy, and that's for another time. But this unique energy right now, it's all about embracing your own individuality, and that can be lonely because you're unique. You know what I mean? It's our unique substance. No one else like you. So that's why I can feel a bit lonely. But this is the peace. Like when you embrace your own unique piece, your own unique piece in that jigsaw puzzle, that big jigsaw puzzle of life. If you fulfill that one piece, and it might feel it's like different to the other pieces, and you're like, what's going on? But
where do I fit in?
Yeah, where do I fit in? If you find that piece, then, you know, and then you'll find your tribe. Yeah. And then you'll resonate with people that need to resonate, so you can help fulfill them in their unique piece.
Yes.
It's not a cookie cutter like we've all been taught. You know,
no.
One size fits all at all.
No, it's not.
You know, and that's where we're at as a collective right now. Like we all want to be like everybody. We all want to fit in. We don't. And this is you know, this is the key to all my addictions. Was I just wanted to fit in.
Yeah. You wanted to belong.
I wanted to belong.
And this is what we're born.
Yeah.
We're born with that survival and needing to belong, because if we, you know, years and years ago in the tribal sense, if a person was kicked out of the community, they never survived. You know, so it's that, you know, it's fight or flight. Definitely. Isn't it? Like, I've got to belong somewhere. And unfortunately, to belong somewhere, you have to wear a mask and perform certain things or be a certain person, which is where your parents started off anyway.
Yes,
you know what I mean? They told you who to be. Yes. You know, and wanted to form you make you into somebody, because they're already somebody.
And they wanted to keep you safe.
That's right. They did the best that they could. Yeah. But they wanted to keep you safe, but you never got to really be yourself at any point, because then you went to school. There again, you were told what to do and had to fit in a certain pattern. Yeah. Had to get A's or B's, otherwise you were not any good. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was this sort of pressure that you grew up with. So, you know, as we get older and older, we get to an age where we think, hey, wait a minute. What's life? Who am I? Yeah. Yeah. You know? Yeah. You're not Ty the fisherman or the real estate agent. You know, there's a lot more in that's you than what people would ever think or ever know, unless they got to know you.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that's and it's great. So you're doing one-on-ones, and you're also doing these amazing. You're into astrology, right?
Yeah, right, into astrology. That's why a lot of what
you do. A lot of full moon stuff.
Yeah, do a lot of full. Well, incidentally, I always followed the moon since a child because of fishing.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I always used to work the moons. I used to always be curious the tides and the moons, and I was like, wow, the moons affect the tides so much, and I kind of realised, you know, wow, if it's affecting the tides so much, as what's it doing to our bodies, because we're full of water as well.
That's right.
You could really start to, as a young'un, I could really see the difference it was making, how it was affecting my mood and people around me, and you know, and it's a bit like the seasons. When you do this work even more, like the seasons, how it affects our bodies, and we can get sick quite often if we're not aware of the changes of the weather, and we're not aware of the changes of the moon. And then astrology is a bigger extension of that as well. Like as the astrology affects our own, like interacts with our own energy. Like most of the clients that come and see me, you can see they've had we call them transits. Like so some of the planets have moved in a certain way. They've interacted with their energy. So around 30 is a big one. 39 to 44, 50, 60, they're all kind of big moments in people's lives. When you look at it's never bang on, it's different for everyone. But every time there's something big, or there could be a particular big transit that like a big planet that has interacted. Sometimes it happens to people early, sometimes not. Like,
yeah, give or take 2 or 3 years, even with Saturn rising, isn't it? It's not really
Saturn
right
return.
on, not right on. Yeah, Saturn return.
Yeah.
It's not on the 18, and then
Nah.
it could be starting at 16 and then or 19.
Yeah.
You know.
And this is all ancient knowledge.
Yeah, it is ancient.
And it's all been like, you know, like it's all been poo-pooed and woo-wooed and all that kind of stuff. And everyone, like Sunday Times, sun sign, everyone only knows that, you know, look at, oh, this is all bullshit. No. Astrology is like,
it's much bigger
it's
than
much bigger than that.
Much bigger. It's a science.
Yeah, it's a whole science.
Yeah.
And all the great philosophers, like in ancient times, were all astrologers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a science in its own right.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And so is sound. I mean, without sound, we wouldn't be here.
We're all vibration.
And Ty plays an amazing didge. Redo.
Redo. I like the way you said it.
I thought
redo.
Many people know what a didge is, or do we have to say didgeridoo? Didgeridoo.
Yidaki.
Yeah.
Yidaki.
And so I've seen and heard him play, and you know the didge vibration. Well, the Aboriginal people actually used, the First Nations people were using the didge as a healing instrument. It's not a musical toy.
No, it's the most ancient healing tool in the world.
Yeah, and a gong. A gong's thousands of years
old.
old.
Yeah, and it's kind of like an emanation of the Great Mother, and it's so connected to Earth, the Great Mother. It's like source, that sound. The vibration just connects us to the
It's
Earth.
huge, and especially to the root chakra.
To the root, yeah.
And this is where we hold all the grief, isn't it? The first 3 chakras is where we hold most of the upsets that we've had and that we haven't really dealt with.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And how are you finding, you know, how are people adjusting to that when you because these sessions are not just like half an hour or anything, like up to 3 hours, which I don't know anybody else that doesn't play stitch for that long. I don't. I've never heard anyone playing for that long.
Oh.
So that's pretty amazing, because there's a lot of breath work involved here, and to solidly do that for 3 hours, I think is amazing.
Thank you.
How do they respond to that?
Well, that was the journey with that, because I realised, like, I was a healer, number one. Like, everyone goes, oh, I can't call yourself a healer, I don't want to be a healer. Like, you know, you're enabling, everyone's a healer, enabling everyone to heal, empowering everyone. And everyone's a shaman, we're all enabling everyone.
Absolutely.
You know, it's kind of...
You're your own guru.
Yeah, your own guru. And it's kind of, and it can be just a point of reference for people. Yeah. So they know where to go. A bit like a doctor, physiotherapist, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's what I kind of had to start owning that a bit more. Yeah, I do healing work.
Yeah.
You know, get out of all that bullshit. Yeah.
So what have you observed as far as the people, as when you're playing the didge, you know, that profoundly, I know it's a profound and that's deep. How do people respond to that? I mean, what all sort different. Of all different?
Oh, and it depends what the energy's doing, depending what they're presenting with. Like some people, you know, you can play it and they'll just instantly release. The emotions will just release. And then some people will just instantly relax them and ground them.
Yeah, okay.
It gives them exactly what they need, not what they want all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what I love from a healing perspective, like being an empath, I can feel where to go. You know, but before I was doing healing work, before I was doing healing work, but it kind of, you end up like wearing it too much. But with the didge, it's a filtration, you know, it just puts everything where it's supposed to be. Like a beautiful mentor of mine said, the didgeridoo, like it's the ultimate cleanser. It just puts everything where it's supposed to go. Yeah. It's completely safe.
Nice.
You can really trust it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I kind of do, trust where to go. Like, you know, there's no science to this. It's non-linear. You kind of trust it.
Well, it's coming through you.
Yeah.
It's not thought of.
No.
I mean, it's not something that you can preconceive. It's something that just happens. And life just happens.
Exactly.
Doesn't it? It's the same thing.
Exactly. Well, that's why, because it was so raw, this energy coming through me, it was so raw, the didge. I had to find other things around to kind of support the process that people were going through. Yeah. So some people are having massive processes. So therefore it's been a huge journey, like gathering different tools. They have other instruments, but other like modalities that I use, like primal primal work, you know, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
sounding work.
Sounding, yeah.
You know, like worked with a psychotherapist and astrologer. He was one of the pioneers. He's been doing it for 40 years. He was one of the pioneers of the alternative industry that brought, you know, therapy into the alternative realms. So I kind of been working with him for a lot now, doing this facilitation work. And that was really, because a lot of the stuff I was realizing, people were having a deep, you know, there was deep trauma there, you know, that needed to be. So I went from being a sound healer, and I'm realizing, shit, I need deeper processes around here to support people because it's bringing stuff up.
Yeah.
Didgeridoo is bringing stuff up. So then I, you know, been on that journey for quite a few years, like finding different tools to support people so they can actually shift it through and complete the process.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realise that that this stuff that they've held within, you know, I'm sort of going off the word trauma. I think it's more experience, you know, and because trauma can be what is trauma? Trauma could be something that not something that you actually received.
It could be anything.
It could be something that you didn't get.
Yeah.
You know, so let's just call it an experience that you haven't dealt with somehow. But some of these ones, like you said before, you said you're not sure whether you've got to the depth of your own experience, right? And I could say the same about myself.
That's always a journey.
Right? Is some of them are actually ancestral.
They're deeply ancestral.
And if you think about all the wars we've gone through, our parents have gone through, that's all traumatic. Where they're all experiences that have stuck in them. Yeah. And you're carrying some of that through, and you're not even aware of that. So even there's moments when you might be feeling down or not, you know, just not happy with yourself, which could be a reflection of that. And, you know, and not having an image or even a vision of why you're feeling that way. Yeah. And the ditch could actually release that without, and you won't even know where that came from. What happened?
And I think that's the most important thing though, is like you don't need to know sometimes. People they get in their heads and they go, what was that? I want to know. It's like, no,
what happened to me?
Yeah, it's just a release. And and a lot of time people feel lighter. Yeah. Yeah, so much lighter. Or what happens is the toxins. It'll release toxins in the body.
Which we have,
Yeah, it'll release a little toxins, so they'll feel, it's a bit like anything when you give up caffeine or anything like that, you feel really buggered.
Headaches,
that kind of stuff. Same with the digs, when you release toxins out of the body will go into like, this feels like there's something missing. You've actually removed something, it feels like something's missing, they're missing the toxin, so they'll feel completely buggered for a while sometimes. If that makes sense.
It does. I've seen people where they've released and not been, and being buggered for about 2 days.
Yeah.
Some of them release massively.
And that's why you're always preparing people. Yeah. It's all in the preparing that this is not a love and light healing. This is like we're here to shift stuff, and this is what can happen.
Yeah, we're here to change the world and hope people will start to understand who they really are and turn it around, because we're going the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely going the wrong direction, aren't we, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of people, and I'm just not going to follow them over the cliff. I'm going to stand back and I refuse to go over the cliff. So I'm going to stand strong in what I believe, and that's it, whether you like it or not. You know?
It's all choice.
And you're the same.
Yeah, very much so. Like when I first, I remember 2010, all of a sudden I've just stopped eating meat. Like I just followed the energy, because I was having dreams of being chased, and I realised I was taking on the energies of that. So I just stopped eating meat, and I stopped drinking, and all my friends are like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then I actually learned to actually just keep it to myself, because people would just start taunting you and just
absolutely.
You
can't do that.
Yeah, I was just like, what's wrong with you, and because it would kick up their stuff. So I learned very early. I'd go into a pub, and I'd have a soda water, make it look like an alcoholic drink. Yeah. So I could fit in, because I learned very quickly not to actually, it's very important just to be it and not project it onto people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So you make people totally
because you don't have to say, I don't drink anymore.
Yeah, I didn't.
You know,
I learned not to do
but
that.
now you can get 0 beers and you get 0 wines,
so
and they're quite nice.
Yeah.
And people don't realise that you're not drinking.
Yeah,
but that's a good
that.
thing.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Because essentially it's about connection, you know.
It is.
People drink to connect.
That's right.
You know, essentially, and then...
And also they drink because they're numbing themselves from... They are frightened of not being able to cope, like you go out and have a couple of drinks before you even go out, because so that you can feel comfortable and chilled by the time you get there, and you're thinking, well, why?
Well, it's so funny. I had this conversation with a lady the other day. She'd been really on it for a while, and I kind of said, like with I said, everything's a medicine. Everything's a medicine and a poison.
Yeah. I like that.
You know, everything.
Yeah.
And alcohol can be a wonderful medicine for people, but for people like us who are full on, for me, I just took it too far. You know, for me, it's a no, because then I'm on it again.
Yeah.
And I know with other beautiful plant medicines, it's not like that. I have it, it's completed.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel the need to do it all the time.
So you've really connected with plant medicines?
100%. Yeah. Like the way I talk about plant medicines for people, it's like you got to understand, it's not to go on a trip. It's not to actually numb out. It's not to escape. It's actually to support your sensitivity and support your own healing when you use these different plant medicines responsibly.
Right.
And if you want to go on the deeper stuff, it's to shift stuff.
Well, there's a lot of people, like, it's so out there now, isn't it? I mean, even some doctors are prescribing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, psilocybin. You know.
Psilocybin.
Yeah. I mean, it's out there. It's wow. I'm thinking, what's happening? I mean.
Well, I think the thing for me, I realised, because I was totally against all that, the way I've been conditioned, and then I kind of realised, and I've been healing for a number of years, and then I kind of realised, oh wow, when I first tried, I was like, oh wow, because I was judging everyone. Oh wow, this is actually, I already experienced this stuff, but it's actually deepening my gifts. Like, it's bringing more healing energy, and I'm glad I've done all these practices to support that, to be able to
be ready for it.
To be ready for it. Whereas that's the point. A lot of people aren't ready for it, and they have bad experiences.
Right. So it's the intention.
It's the intention
that you set. If you're setting to have an intention to think, oh, this is going to be like LSD or something, you're going to go and see cartoons or whatever.
Yeah, it's not like that.
It's not like that.
It's not like that.
And so whatever comes out, it'll be scary.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where, and this is the thing, when you have any, like cacao is a beautiful entry plant medicine. It opens up all the blood vessels, the heart, the whole bit. But it interacts really well with sound.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, you're bringing more healing, energy, vibration into the body, which is light, which is sound. So therefore, it's very important for sound to help integrate it, to help bring it in safely into the body. So, like I always, the most powerful healing you can do is the power of your own vibration, your own sound, which is, for some people go, what? If we're so shut down our own sound, the biggest fear people have is to speak in front of people.
I mean, the throat chakra is one of the hardest ones.
Yeah.
I experienced, my throat chakra was really tight years ago. I mean, and sometimes I still feel that there's like a tension there, and I'm thinking, why is that there? You know, I'm thinking, surely I've dealt with everything possible by now, you know, but there's still, like you said, you know, there's still something underlying that you may not have pushed through yet. But you know it's coming.
You know it's coming. I kind of like through the journey, like I always realise, and I know, you know, I've got a lot of wonderful teachers that I lean in on, and vice versa. And you kind of realise that the more you kind of do this work, you've got a more capacity to actually handle pain.
That's right.
So therefore, stuff. Oh yeah, I've dealt with that. Like you hear people say, "Oh, I've dealt with that." But stuff's coming up. No, I don't want to deal with that. It's kind of protection, but you kind of realise that you can go, it's like a spiral. Like you're always going to come across, but on a higher level. You can look at the other way on a deeper level as well. So therefore, you can go to places that you can never go to before. So sometimes it can be more and more painful. The way and this is the key part of life that hasn't been taught. And shamanic process is all about initiation. initiation is really important. So growing pain, so it's really important to have those pain thresholds, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, because
to be able to,
it's through our pain that we gain the wisdom.
100%. And we've been so taught to run away and
or to ignore
it, or or think someone's going to save us, which is how we've all been conditioned, toxically.
Or we blame somebody else.
We blame someone else. We project it back out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're so bred on.
I wouldn't be going through this if it wasn't for him or her.
We're so bred on judgment. The whole society is bred on judgment.
Absolutely.
And criticism. People make good livings out of criticism.
I know. I know that. They do. And and even you even find that, and I find this really interesting, is you could go out somewhere and you bump into someone. I'd like you to experience this yourself, everybody that's listening to this particular interview. When you go out next time and you bump into someone or you're talking to somebody that is an acquaintance or whatever, see if you can hold that conversation and not talk about anybody else.
That's a great
Because it is a challenge, because you don't realise how much we gossip, how much we've got. Why haven't we got enough to say about ourselves and our own lives?
And we all do it.
And it's powerful.
It's powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. I mean, why do we need to talk about other people? I mean, you started me on this because of the judgment bit. Wait a minute.
Because it's comfort. Because if we're talking about someone else, we don't have to talk about ourselves. We don't have to look what's going on in here.
Yeah.
It makes it.
That's a good one.
It's much better. It's much easier.
And we don't have to face ourselves, because I'll tell you what I found personally myself is the biggest challenge I've had in my life was facing myself.
Oh man, yeah.
That's the most powerful thing, is to really look at yourself and because you've talked yourself into being something, into being somebody, into all the stuff that you've grown up with, that preconditioned with. So we're not coming from a real self. We're coming from a prefabricated self. It's fabricated. We're fabricated, totally fabricated. It's like making up your own. Someone's made a program for us. We're running on it, and we feel the rest like a computer. We're born with data, and we get input of data from parents as we grow up, and then we then find software. We go to different paths, get some software, download that in, and then we're no different to a computer. We're running this program 24 hours a day. 100%. But we get to a stage where we think, well, there's got to be something else. Well, what's going on? And it's what's missing is that you're not who you are, who you truly are, and that's the hardest thing to find. And it's not until you really face yourself that you think, wow, okay, I got to fix me first before I can go anywhere else, because it's a big journey, and you've done that. You've faced yourself. You've looked at all your demons, like your greedy monster and all that sort of stuff. You've dealt with all that, and it's an important journey, and you can't really go out there and help others unless you've dealt with your own personal stuff.
And yeah, exactly. Couldn't have worded it better. But you also, what's really humbling is, that your healing's my healing.
Absolutely.
When someone comes to you, you're like, oh wow, this is really kicking up some stuff for me as well. This is really good. Like, especially as full empaths, you start to understand, like, the more vulnerable you are, the more you own your own wounds.
Yeah.
Safer people feel, number one. But the more that you can actually really have that one that's really tuned into someone, and allow it to shift. And
it's a continual, beautiful movement of energy. It's a wave.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a wave.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when people turn around and say, "Oh, thanks, Ty, that really helped," and the first thing you turn around and say is, "Thank you, because you've actually done the same for me."
Yeah.
It's tit for tat, isn't it?
Always.
Always. And that's important.
Always.
So if people want to connect with you on a one-on-one basis or find out more about you, what do they do?
www.om as in
As O-M?
O-M as in
Healing?
Dig.
Oh, Dig.
Dig. D-I-D-G-E.
Yeah.
Healing. So dighealing.com.
Great. And there's all that information there, and you keep everyone up to date with you. He's also on Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook. I have a WhatsApp group that on Dig Healing events if you want to keep updated as well. Some people aren't on social media. So we do that as well. But
Well, that's great. And I think you ought to give Ty a go, especially with his full moon ceremonies. That's really big, and just to experience it. And if you experience something there, well, then perhaps you might seek a one-on-one with Ty. I highly recommend him, and we've got to know each other quite well. And what he's sharing is definitely a beautiful energetic field, and I think you need to be part of that to move on and to grow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks heaps, Ty.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we'll catch up again later on. Cheers.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and we look forward to your company in our next episode, In Body, in Mind.